Hi, this is a video for anyone who's really looking into purchasing a original Marine Master. This one's the SBDX001, or maybe you've already got an early model and are experiencing issues with the crown. I thought it'd be interesting to go through my experience owning the watch and my experience with Seiko, and then end up with a few thoughts on crown replacement at the end. This particular model is a 2005 that I picked up on eBay from the original owner. Uh, the listing had mentioned that the crown had been replaced in 2012 by Seiko Japan. Now that's significant. Let's keep that in mind. But when I received the watch, it was in really good shape. It kept good time. The only thing I noticed right off the bat was the crown action wasn't as good as some of my other dive watches, and it only went in about 3/4 of a turn. But since I wasn't planning on diving with the watch and it wasn't going to be a daily wearer, I wasn't overly concerned. And anyways, fast forward 5 years and the crown would barely turn at all and the watch was stopping. So I realized that something had to be done. I reached out to my regular watch guys and a couple of Seiko experts in around the Toronto area. And because of the monoblock case, nobody really had any experience with it. And of course, you have to go through the front on the monoblocks, and they all suggested that I pretty much Seiko was the only way to go. So I contacted Seiko Canada, and they told me that until recently, everything with the 8L35 movement and monoblock case had to go through Seiko Japan, and they would ship it there. But good news, as far as they were concerned, Seiko USA now had the facilities to make repairs, and so they were no longer shipping to Japan, and that it was going to go to the United States. So the deal was for a non-refundable $100 Canadian, I could ship it into them, get an estimate, and they would let me know what it was going to cost and what it would entail. So after some back and forth with Seiko, I told them to go ahead and proceed with the repairs, and this is what I ended up with. Because of the integrated crown tube, you really got no choice but to replace the case, the crown, the whole shebang, and obviously that's problematic for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you take a look at it, if you know, the original SBDX001 had an unsigned crown. So what you're ending up with on the newer one is the Prospex logo. Let's see if I can get it here, which in itself is not a deal breaker, except for the fact that as a collector, uh, it's not the same. And for somebody who's bought the original box and papers, when they do this kind of a repair, you've got the Prospect signed logo, and of course a new case back. So, I know it's not a 5513 or a 62 MAS or anything really collectible, but, down the road that might be significant when none of your numbers are matching up anymore and it's not an intact original model. So let's take a quick look at the bill from Seiko Canada. Actually, the overhaul of the 8L35 at $580 Canadian, which is about $430 US, I thought was quite reasonable. The kicker, of course, is that new stem, crown, and case at $2,375, which is about $1,750 US. And given that I paid $1,400 for the watch in 2017, that was pretty problematic. But I just hate bricking watches, and even though I could have probably done better on the secondary market buying another watch rather than getting this one repaired, I decided to go ahead and proceed with it. The good news is that after the repair, the crown action is really, really solid, and I've got no concerns down the road that I'm going to run into the same problem. I will mention to you that one tip, and to be honest, this didn't help me when I got this watch by the time it was that far down the road. But when you're screwing in the crown, push it in and then turn it counterclockwise till you feel it click. There we go. Once you've got it in that groove, you got no problems at all. Um, Be interesting to have picked up this watch new in 2004 or whatever, and if I had babied the crown in that, or it had always been babied, whether people would still have those problems, I honestly don't know. The final question is how common are these issues in the old Marine Masters? If you look at the forums on Watch You Seek, I do think it's a fairly common problem, given the number of reports of issues with the crown. Compare when you compare them to SKXs, Monsters, and other forums, that it doesn't really crop up as much, even though there's way more of the lower models sold. Some people are reporting success with drilling out the crown tube and replacing the crown that way. But I've also read that if you want to get a proper repair done, it's not as good as a full case replacement. There are also reports that Seiko Japan can make those repairs. And so it's kind of a coulda, woulda, shoulda with me, but I often wonder whether I would have been better off asking Seiko Canada to send it to Japan rather than United States, or if that wasn't an option, whether Seiko Japan would deal with me directly. Um, if you remember, in 2012, apparently this crown was replaced and the case back numbers match the original paperwork. So if anybody can explain what was going on there or what possibly happened, I would appreciate the option. So if you've stayed with me this long, I appreciate your time, and hopefully it's been useful for some people. And anybody who's got any input, good, bad, or indifferent, please leave some comments at the bottom there so that we can all learn from this. Thanks very much.